I don't really know what I just witnessed. That is absolutely insane.
How could you combine these two approaches that both of us had really invested so much of our lives working on? I would play it only in the feet, and Ramon would play it only in one hand.
You guys are crazy. I don't really know what I just witnessed. That is absolutely insane. To all of you out there watching, please welcome Alex Cohen on the double bass and Ramon Montagner on the one-handed snare solo. We wanted to make this happen for quite a long time, and I think this is also the first time we've actually had two full drum kits set up in the studio. For anyone who doesn't know what they just witnessed, can you explain what was going on right there?
So that was Etude 1 from the Delecluse snare book. And those are challenging classical snare drum pieces. A lot of dynamics, a lot of accents, rolls, and unusual phrasing. So what we decided was that I would play it only in the feet and Ramon would play it only in one hand. And then we would do it in unison to show the possibilities.
Anyone who knows any of the snare drum books out there, Delecluse is known as like one of the most challenging books out there.
Yeah, for sure.
So the fact that you're doing it with 2 feet and one hand is on another level.
Thank you, man.
So the reason you're here is both of you wrote a brand new book called Extreme Polyrhythm, Coordination, and Speed Techniques. This is a crazy book, and we're going to be talking about a bunch of the stuff that you both have written. Alex, I guess you have half the book where you're talking about a bunch of stuff, and then same thing with you, Ramon.
Yeah.
So to start off, Extreme Polyrhythm, Coordination, and Speed Techniques. What's the book about? And then let's get into some of the things that you guys talk about.
We created some exercise. My part was create some grooves using other techniques that I've been developing all these years. So using push-pull, slide, and dual grip, and mixing, trying to mix and be as crazy as this guy is.
We first met because we did this Wilcoxon challenge together during COVID, where everyone was interpreting the Wilcoxon book their own way. And Ramon did it in one hand and I did it in double bass. And we tied for first place with that challenge. Nice. He probably should have gotten first. I shouldn't, but you know, that was how we first met. And I remember seeing that and thinking, if someone could get that down over these types of double bass parts and these type of ostinatos, the ideas, the creativity, the musicality they would be able to make.
Yeah.
And really a lot of it was theoretical, based off of kind of my taking certain concepts and then his thoughts on certain things he was doing in the left foot and just ideas. And then me approximating some stuff using the free hand and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was really about layering those and just thinking, how could you combine these two approaches that both of us had really invested so much of our lives working on. And
yeah, that's awesome. So I guess, Ramon, we're going to start with you. I guess you have the speed techniques section in the book. So some of the things that you talk about are push-pull, dual grip, slide technique, and then you also have the Cajon.
Yeah, drum Cajon.
For any of you out there who haven't realized yet, Ramon doesn't have a drum throne, he has a Cajon. Where would you start with some of these techniques? What's the basis of them? How do you use them? And,
I studied with this technique at 23 years ago. And I learned first, before I learned open close. You take advantage of the rebound. But in certain time, I realized that if I want to play some medium to fast sambas, instead of playing too much open, I try to keep all the time my fingers in contact with the drumstick, shorten the movement, and be able to play first of all regular 16 notes. My way of doing this is I use American grip, not too much French, not too much German. I keep the drumstick on this joint and in between the other 3 joints of the other fingers, and try to use my thumb to push the drumstick and pull it again. So the idea is to, instead of doing this, trying to do. Of course, you can start pulling as well. It's very useful to play sambas, for example, medium to fast sambas. Before playing with push-pull, I used to play more with my wrist. But after I realized that I could play with this, you can play for more time, but no effort, very relaxed too. So the idea is to use this. But with time, and you play a little bit faster, you use less thumb and take more advantage from the rebound.
Can you show us maybe even just how that works into jazz or into pop or any kind of like applications of that?
Yeah, for example, you can use it for some embellishments, for example. Even for thinking on jazz, for example. For some rolls with your left hand. Five-stroke roll. This type of things.
Crazy, man. Alex, do you do a lot of that stuff and you're playing too?
I do the poor. Well, I would say I use the freehand primarily to approximate that. So I taught myself like kind of, so I could do that kind of. It approximates, but
Love it.
he's the master.
So that's the push-pull.
Yeah.
You also talked about one called the dual grip.
Yes. Let's talk first, if you permit me, to talk a little bit first, a little bit about slide first.
Yeah, of course.
Slide. There are some great guys in Brazil playing something like this, using this sideways motion. I've been playing with a band for a long time. There are some cuts in the wood, so produce this very percussive sound. So with time playing a lot with this band, I realized that I could use it in the same way as push-pull. So I try to first understand the motion. I'm not squeezing the drumstick. I'm just letting the drumstick a little bit more relaxed than with push-pull. But I'm still keeping the contact all the time with the drumstick, and trying to use this motion as push-pull, but right-left, and trying to adapt all the stuff that I've been doing with push-pull as, for example, some roll. And using. Even for example. Trying to mix some during the performance, mix this push-pull and slide, and dual grip. I start to play with this traditional mallet grip, but using this mallet sticks for doing some rolls. But once I've been playing with a band using a lot of with a percussion player and playing a lot of percussion, and I try to put more pressure on comping, on samba comping. So I moved this grip. First move was this grip to this one, and for a samba comping is very interesting. You can put more pressure using two drumsticks. But you can also, if you separate the drumsticks like this and put some angle, it's just another grip. From this to this and to this, separating drumstick, one with the thumb and index, and the other with the other finger. So and putting some angle here, you can play producing flams, because Brazilian rhythms were created on percussion samples, the most of them, and not directly on the drum. So we are always adapting these lines, these percussion lines, rhythms and patterns to the drum set. So doing this, I can produce that flam flammy sound. But it's nice to play even for some pop. Some phrasings, but you can also play push-pull with two drumsticks, very in parallel. And also mix some slide. But you can, for example, using this, I can even play push-pull with this finger, thumb and index, and choose some notes to play the flam. Another use is, for example, putting one above another. So there's a lot of uses, even playing with different drumsticks using, for example, this nylon drumsticks and so I've been trying to create some different textures and using different techniques and different drumsticks.
I think my favorite thing about all of this, and I know you can't just learn this overnight. It's years and years of practice and starting slow, which the same with any technique or any skill. But I love that you're approaching this from a musical standpoint. Not just, I want to play fast for the sake of playing fast.
No, there's no reason for playing like this. At least in my point of view. I'm always trying to be musical. In this, it's my challenging every day. Don't lose the focus on musicality and trying to use this as tools for making music or express my ideas. And sounding percussive and musical as well.
So as a beginner or an intermediate, which one would you start with, or what would be the best place to start?
The most difficult, I think, is push-pull. I've been playing for 23 years, but I have a lot of students using this. They are playing some bossa nova, some samba, and using for some pop stuff. But I think if you practice every day a little, half an hour, 20 minutes, understanding the basic motions and practicing the basic 16 and starting to put some accent. And the same steps that we did when we start to play with both hands. Try some accents, some doubling certain notes. And start as fast as you can to using as in compings and grooves. Try simple things, but it's very important to practice every day a little. Consistency is the word to these techniques. All these techniques are medium to long time to develop, but I think if you practice this in 1 year, 2 years, you are able to play some basic stuff.
Before we play the track, do you just want to talk quickly about the Cajon, and then we'll show how this applies to music?
Yes, for sure. I've been playing with the Cajon, trying to create some hybrid grooves. For example, if I play something like this. If I have to play just with one hand, I would try to adapt I've been adapting some pandeiro movements that thumb, fingers, wrist, fingers, thumb. This basic motion is the basic pandeiro motion. If I play that same groove but mixing both, it will sound like this. I've been trying to create some phrasings using one hand and...
We'll start with track 2.
Entretantos e Finalmente.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's play.
Okay, let's hear it. was great, man.
Thank you.
Like so many, like even just watching the chats, like people are just saying they're so inspired to try different things and try to get different textures out of the kit. So
I've been doing it to find my voice for a long time and trying to be creative but with a particular voice.
Before we jump to Alex's part, you've got one more track?
Yes, just for finish. Is a frevo, is a Brazilian rhythm that usually in Brazil we play frevo like this. A little bit faster, but this 7-stroke row. And I adapted to the left hand and trying to be musical as well.
All right, here it is.
So,
You're a beast, man. Like beautiful playing.
Thank you, Brando.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Pleasure to be here.
And just when we thought there couldn't be any more, Alex Cohen is moving into the hot seat.
I don't know if I can follow that.
This is so fun. We got to have two drummers in here more often.
Very different and
now we can
doing different things.
Yeah, we can just heckle Alex now. The whole time.
I mean, after that, I deserve it. But
so, Alex, what is your part of the book? What kinds of ideas are you talking about?
So a large part of what I was going for was the idea of extended foot techniques and long ostinato phrases, polyrhythmic ostinato phrases, and this idea that I had of really limb equalization, but in a way where you were really playing against whatever rhythm was in each limb, using freehand, using push-pull, not quite there yet, using one-handed simulcast, really creating this, what I call the double drummer effect. Your feet to your hands, side to side, whichever limb combination, you really sounded like two people. You could actually improv two separate lines at a time. I remember reading about it in Thomas Lang's first book, and then the great classical pianist Franz Liszt, I heard, would improv another line on top of the piece he was playing. So I thought, okay, that's an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
So kind of almost dual layers of improv.
Awesome.
That way.
So we're going to start with a solo and then kind of break down some of the concepts that are in there.
Sure.
Take it away, man. Dude, you're as insane as our buddy Ramon over here.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
Some of those ostinatos, I think you went to the sevens on the hi-hat, and then the double strokes on the bass drums. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah, so, okay, I'm very into symmetry in the sense that both sides should be equal. And because I really like the idea of kind of using the drums as a keyboard instrument, where you have your right hand, your left hand, but more like an organ in the sense that, so I liked having the multiple pedals set up, but a lot of this stuff came as a way to develop that side in particular. So, doubles in the left side aren't really happening. So what I would do would, or on a hi-hat pedal, and then run other rudiments against it. So I really wanted to be free with that, and then obviously work it a little more up to speed. So put phrase of 9 against it, anywhere up to like 19s. I try to calculate big numbers with this stuff. And then what I would go for was then so on and so forth. So moving it through the limbs, very similar to like the Marco Miniman and Thomas Lang books. But I liked also the idea of much longer repeating phrases. In the words of the great Pete Drummond, the longer phrases are more musical. I happen to agree. So what I did was work on a lot of phrases like triple paradigms, which are 16-beat phrases. Most importantly, I would try and make it at least groove somewhat. Yeah. So the idea being that when I was doing them in my feet, I would try and at least create a phrase that sounded melodic and musical on top. So let's say even if I was doing something like a 3 or something like that,
So for someone getting into this, obviously you have a rhythmic understanding of, like, you can feel out those 19s or the 7s and stuff like that. Would you recommend people go through stuff like stick control?
100%.
Getting those types of patterns and rhythms in their under the hands first? And then is it kind of up to them to explore how they orchestrate this, like you talked about, putting it all on the right side or all on the left side? Completely.
So one of the ways that I started developing this stuff was doing stick control in my feet, under my hands. I know late great Dom Famularo talked about this. Stick control, doing the patterns like. Or patterns like that, doing those in the feet, then choosing an ostinato in the feet, be it doing it in the hands as such, then moving it. The idea being that you were then creating a melody separately over that.
Yeah.
So I really worked on a lot of that, and then would do it through the sides as well. So trying to do it through the different combination of limbs to really even out my hands and feet, as well as create a real ambidextrous approach to this stuff. Then once I did that, I think there's technical, you can play it technically, but then it's the musical component, orchestration.
Yeah.
Playing these, so for example, you could do this, but it doesn't really sound like much to me. I like this. That to me sounds way more musical to play against and create. So I was very much into the contrasting melody, similar to like what a Liszt was, how I liked hearing classical music like that.
I'd say like similar to what Ramon, you were talking about earlier is This is all about developing headroom, developing possibilities. I don't think anyone is going to play or use these ideas exactly like you or exactly like you, but there might be one thing, like a melodic approach or an ostinato that resonates with any of you viewing this.
Absolutely. You know, and again, when regards to the ambidexterity thing, I really liked taking some of these ideas, you know, the ideas that I was seeing online or whatnot, and then moving them over pedals, doing them between like right and left, so you would have. Stuff like that, where the evenness of the feet helps you create this different side-to-side motion. And I think that's like got some very cool implications that you can use musically, as well as like it opens up this idea of the drum set as more of a whole instrument. Very similar to like what Mike Mangini was doing. That was a big influence on me for the kind of setup and the idea of the ambidextrous approach that way.
And I know both of you go like much deeper into all this stuff in the book. So once again, any of you who have joined late, all the stuff is in here. Extreme polyrhythm, coordination, and speed techniques. We've like scratched the surface of a lot of this stuff, but I'm sure you could spend 10 lifetimes going through a lot of this. It's great, man. And even just seeing, I know people always say like, do stick control with your feet and do it with your hands and do it evenly. But I don't think enough of us actually do that and put in the time. Clearly you've put in the time, because based on that first solo we saw earlier, like, it's clean. Both of you.
Thank you so much.
That's great. All right, guys, we're going to close out with a piece from Cirone. This one is also madness. So what's going to happen in this one? Are you doing the feet again and Ramon's doing the hands?
The same.
One hand and me in the feet.
Nice.
The same agony.
Yeah, he's raged at this piece many times.
And which one is this? Which number?
Cirone 7.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the
Portraits in Rhythm.
Yes.
Portraits in Rhythms.
This brings back some major PTSD for me, but I did it with two hands, not with feet and one hand. So, all right. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us, and thanks all of you for tuning in. And we'll see you all later.
See you.
Take it away, guys.
1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.